When looking for your favorite tools and supplies for your next flooring job, we have the absolute best place to shop online. Head on over to shagtools.com, the pro's choice for everything from cutters, adhesives, knee pads, shower systems, and more. Shag Tools carries all the premium brands you know and trust. In stock with fast shipping to either you or your job site. And right now, our new customers are going to receive 10% off their initial purchase using the code HUDDLE10. That's right, HUDDLE10 at shagtools.com.
What is up, guys? That was
I
a
didn't know
little
she was
odd
back.
on the video there. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Huddle, the #1 podcast in flooring. We're here every week to help you guys gain forward progress in your career. You've heard it every week. We're here to help you guys win. For all our new viewers, welcome to the team. What's up, my men? What are you
What's
guys up
up?
to?
What's up, brother? Feels like it's been a while.
It does feel that way. I've been just swamped with all the automation and stuff we're doing at the moment. So it's been
I,
fun, but it
I
is
can only imagine.
time consuming.
Isn't automation supposed to free you up?
Yeah, that's the thought, but it's usually after you've done it. That's the problem right now in AI is that people just want something out of the box. AI is really more about, well, I think the most benefit can be gotten by building your own stuff,
It's custom.
Yeah,
my
Custom,
opinion.
bro.
I don't think that's just your opinion. I think that's just how it is. Because if you're not building something for your own stuff, then you're just trying to use someone else's solution, which is never 100% focused on your stuff.
Let's
Especially when it comes to AI, because it needs to know you, right? It needs to
Yeah,
know
it's
the
certainly not
business.
built for you, first off. And then secondly, just like you mentioned, is it's out of the box. It's the same thing everybody else has. And it has limited learning ability versus you having an AI employee or agent of your own that you teach, that it learns these things. It learns, you know, it will make mistakes. I promise you that. We've already experienced it. But guess what? So do employees. And you got to look at it that way. People are looking at AI as software, not as what it is, which is really digital employees if you so choose to go that direction. Luckily,
It's
we're in
that
a
chicken noodle
business where
soup,
we're not
brother.
going to have digital employees installing our floors. So we still
Yeah.
have an opportunity on the backside at operational excellence and on the front side of building those relationships. We can still do what we do. It's just it takes away all the cruddy stuff no one likes doing anyway.
Well,
But you got to
It's
build it
like
that way and train it, like you said.
AI
it's
is like chicken noodle
training.
soup, right? We're all gonna spice it a little bit differently, make it a little bit differently to our liking.
That's a good way to put it. Well, today I'm going to give everybody an upfront to please like and subscribe, interact with our videos and our content. We are on the cusp of doing some really cool stuff we hope to announce here in the next couple of weeks. And you guys and your participation made it possible. And we are hoping to bring you some really cool news here in the coming weeks. So stay tuned and,
And
like and subscribe to our stuff.
and if you're going to be at coverings, Jorge and I will be there. So definitely come and say hi. We have never been to covering, so this is going to be our first time. So make sure you come over and show us
Yeah, you
around.
got guys out there, go see the guys and maybe jump in on an interview,
They
you
need a
know.
tour guide. Who's willing to
Yeah,
help them out?
yeah. Yeah, I wish I was going. I've been to coverings a few times. It's a great time and it is really cool. It's just a different, it's still a show like Tice, but it is tile out tile and some more tile. And they split it up by, ceramic tiles of Italy, ceramic tiles of Spain, ceramic tiles of China,
Yeah, I was
and you
looking at the
like
floor
go look
plan
at
and
these.
trying to see how they were having it set up, and it's like two separate areas too. So
Yeah, it will be cool. So go see the
I
guys out at coverings. We'll be out there, and as a huddle team, not all of us will be there, but go see Jorge and Daniel. Today's sponsors for our episode is the NAFCT, the number one training entity in resilient flooring and beyond, but certainly they know they're resilient over there. Look out and keep an eye out for the NAFCT
I know we have
and their
a class
upcoming
coming up
events.
in May, in Georgia over there at Beaumont Flooring. So
Sweet.
that should be
That's a
coming up pretty
beautiful
soon.
facility. Another sponsor for the day is Divergent Adhesives. Mr. Sonny Callahan himself, Mr. Divergent, makes some really damn good adhesives. So go check out Divergent. And if you have one of them projects that really need a high demand adhesive, Divergent is your place to go. So go check them out. Episode's also brought to you by Trade Tap and the VTI. We are making great headway over there, and the VTI is pretty much live. There's a few little binkity binks going on that we are in the process of working out, but very soon that will be 100% live, along with with Jumpstart, which is our job board. So if you're an installer, you can subscribe to Jumpstart for just $99 for the entire year and have access to all the new helpers coming into our industry. I wish I had a different word, but that's what we all know them as. But these are trained guys.
Eventually, we'll have a different word. It's got to just
Talent.
be with what people
We're
know
New
now.
talent.
We're going to coin something in the near future. But the new talent coming into the industry, I heard you, brother. You want to hire those guys. Don't hire off Craigslist. Don't hire off freaking Facebook. Don't hire your nephew unless he's committed, obviously. But you know what I'm saying? Like, go give the guys and gals a chance that are coming out of these programs, and soon you'll have that right at your fingertips. So keep a lookout for Jumpstart coming out soon as well. Now that we got a little housekeeping out of the way, we're going to get to today's topic, which is that's how we've always done it. Most people believe this, or a lot of people believe this is part of the biggest, like, overarching problem in our industry is that we are stuck in our ways, and we have. If you've been in flooring for any amount of time dealing with people, you have heard this term. You have heard them say, "Well, that's the way we've always done it," or a more aggressive approach is a GC saying, "Well, that's how we've always done it," or a building owner saying, "Essentially, that's how we've always done it," but tearing up old VCT and putting new down and not understanding that the new can't handle the same amount of moisture as the old, and the new has to be mitigated and the old does not.
Well, and that's when they always fall back to the other guys that were here didn't do that.
Dude, just writing that down. That's not how the last installer did it. Just
Yeah,
writing that down right now.
I can't, I'm going to get my VTI updated when we finalize everything, and I am literally going to use it to combat that kind of stuff. I'm going to be like, well, see if your other guy's a master. I hope I'm mastering something. I'm probably more like proficient. But, see if your other guy has the level of expertise to be giving you the same advice or doing it the same way.
And that's the thing, is that people don't realize that proficient, like if you are proficient, you're already ahead of the curve, because
you're way ahead.
Yeah, there's so many people that are just stuck down there because of one of the reasons is because of the topic we're talking about today, right?
Yeah, and this topic goes right to training. Like, that's why I think so many guys are adverse to training, is like, well, this is how we've always done it, or why would we need it? We already know what we're doing. No, you don't. You don't
have any failures.
Yeah.
We had one phone call back.
after 2 years or a year, you're gone. A lot of times an owner will get so fed up or somebody's so fed up with the problem, they just hire somebody else and then call you back.
Yeah.
And I know that we've all experienced, and I've said it, you guys have said it 100 times on the podcast, that when somebody goes and gets training, 99%, well, 100% of the time from my perspective is we learned so much, or I learned so much from that thing. I didn't even think about it. It's usually when you go on a whim and they're like, "Whoa, holy crap, there's actually stuff in there that I'm not doing or steps I'm not taking." So yeah, this topic I think flows to a lot of things. I was talking, to one of the CEOs of one of the organizations earlier, and he said that, a lot of people are like, this goes on with what we started out talking about, which was AI. And he asked me if I would do a webinar about it. And I said, well, I already did one. You can go watch me. But no, I said, sure, I'll do another webinar. He said, there's a lot of people doing, using Chat GPT and such, but a lot of people that are even still in our industry fearful of that. And I'm like, well, this is not the story we were telling a few years back that, hey, it's coming. It is here. I'm using it, and it does things that I don't have to do anymore. More that I don't have to do anymore. So the attitude, I bring that back up only because it's that attitude, this thought that's how I've always done it. I'm actually kind of excited about AI because it's going to force people to think outside that. You can't maintain that thought process. It's like a paradigm shift. It's going to have to be, or you're going out of business.
I mean, if you think back, right?
I'll be buying your business.
We've talked about it before when when we were first starting, or when Jose was first starting his first business, right? And it's like you're using a recycled spreadsheet that doesn't have any formulas, and it's like, if you're not utilizing the technology that's out, you're already falling behind. And that I don't mean just like technology as electronics. I mean, it's technology in the flooring that is going down, right? It's technology in the adhesives, it's technology in the prep. That's all it is different types of technology, and you have to utilize everything, all the new stuff, in order to progress.
Well, a lot of what you're saying too about the technology, and even to tie it back into the topic, is people are so afraid of change that it's easier to revert back to that. This is how I've always done it. This is how I was taught 20 years ago by the guy who was the best around 20 years ago. I learned this because of the other installers weren't up to par, so I learned how to do it differently, and then they just stick with it because it works at that time. I think that the progression of AI and our industry as a whole is.
I'm back.
Oh, did you freeze, brother? I thought you were just really listening intently. I thought you were just like, man, this is really interesting.
I was gone for a hot minute.
But and where did I leave off? But the progression of AI going on right now, like you said, Daniel, 4 years ago, or we were talking about it coming. Get prepared. You're right. It's here.
It's here.
But change is here too, and the idea of having someone tell everyone, this is how I've always done it. Guess what? That is no longer valid.
I don't think it's going to be an option.
Yeah, we are not doing it the same way we've always done it at all. Like, nobody is. And
some people are.
Well, some people are. So the hands-on, right, and the hands-on applications, yes, but they think they're doing it the same way they've always done it, except for the technology and the items that they're using has changed substantially from 20 years ago. 10
Right.
years ago, 5 years ago. So they're not doing it the same way. They just think they're doing it the same way. They're going through the same motions, the same process. Um, is that your
Well, I
frozen
like
face?
what you said earlier.
Couple shout outs real quick because Kevin says Happy St. Patrick's Day and Brian says what's up.
What's
What's up,
up?
gentlemen?
What's up, fellas? Um, I like what you said earlier that, the right when I rejoined, it sounded like you guys were kind of on that process, or at least talking about that. Daniel was saying 4 years ago it's coming and now it's here. It literally is. And I don't think, like what I said earlier, I don't think that it's something you can ignore or say this is the way I've always done it, because I think this is really something that will leave you behind. Like you will just be left behind. Not in the old sense of the word, but more so comparable to companies that didn't want to use computers in the early days and went out of business when their competitors adopted computers earlier. Like that type of thing, but maybe even bigger than that. So we'll see. But the whole attitude of doing it the way you've always done it, that whole system of things is going downhill. Um, I couldn't be happier about the timing for the VTI and trade tap and all of that, because it's happening at a time when the way you present yourself, the way you do business is going to change. Whether you're an installer or you're a flooring contractor that provides materials and labor, like you're going to have to adjust and get fast.
Yeah.
So
At, at
I
least
got
take
to
the
jump
time
off here a
to.
little bit early. Just a note to everybody. So keep up with the good comments and keep these guys on their toes once I leave. And I just thought I'd say that I'll be leaving here in about 5 minutes. But yeah,
So
Daniel. So what are your? I was
that
going to
was
ask
one
you
of
just.
what we talked about during our meeting this week was just how you can learn so much by reading the specs and knowing what changes, right? And we were talking about prep because the guys had questions about, what can go underneath certain systems like a moisture mitigation, what can't, why can't it, and then, what can go over old adhesives. And then I was like, actually, a lot of the prep manufacturers and adhesive manufacturers, they used to say, get it down to a thin film. Now they're saying, I want it gone.
Get it to concrete. Yeah.
Get it to
And that,
concrete.
and if you're not staying up on the latest stuff through the huddle and through training, you would not know that. And a failure is still going to be on you. Like, I'll tell you a quick story. I love telling stories. Um, I had a guy that used to work for me. He was an old installer and is just used to doing things the way he's used to doing them. And he did a bit, it was a pretty big job for us. It was a carpet tile. I'd say pretty big job. It was about 4,000 yards or so of carpet tile. And because carpet tile was down, they took up carpet tile and
Oh,
it had old broadloom adhesive with pressure sensitive, and he refreshed the pressure sensitive and put down the new carpet tile, and every stitch of it failed. We got 2,300 yards in before it started just failing,
Just peeling right
curling,
up, huh?
coupling. Yeah.
yeah.
And we had to replace every bit of that. Luckily, I'm not naming manufacturers or anything. The manufacturer stood behind us and helped us with the material. We had to cover all the labor. It was still a very, very expensive mistake. And it's because that guy did not pay attention to our policies and procedures. Our processes at Stewart and Associates say get it to concrete or get a full indemnification, one of the two. Get it to concrete or indemnify, or you better have a product that you know. Like I'll mention Milliken as an example of one of the very, very few carpet tiles that can go over old broadloom adhesive with their non-reactive adhesive. I like what Kevin said, releasable, not reusable.
Yeah, that was actually part of the topic that led into the conversation that Daniel was talking about, compatibility and going over it, and then we talked about the curling, and it doesn't matter how good you are, right? You can be the best, but if you skip that step, you're gonna look like the worst, and that's
I'll tell you what I hate though is pressure sensitive on concrete, like a nice concrete with pressure sensitive on, and you got to take that up. That is the worst
That,
adhesive demo there is.
we spoil people. We use notches. We don't like roll it or anything. So it's way easier to get up if you do that.
well, it's harder
Yeah,
to take up the carpet, but it's easier to
Right.
remove the system.
the
Yeah,
adhesive, yeah.
Doyle says it's hard to do it the same way if you're staying up to date with adhesives and especially the roll-on vapor barriers and the new technology of self-levelers because technology is advancing not only the quality of stuff, but pushing your turnaround time because jobs, we live in a world where that's what gets you the job sometimes over pricing is
Hmm.
hitting these deadlines. And we've been on those jobs, right? We called you and gave you the contract not because you were the cheapest price, but because we are on this deadline and we think you're the only one that's going to be able to hit it.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. And one other thought to his comment is the application of these products. If your store, if you're grabbing a new product from a store, I don't care if you're buying it yourself or you're getting it from a retailer or a dealer. If they're not giving you new information, you better start learning about that product. Getting a hold of the rep, like, you know, because they change so fast. Self levelers, man. It seems like they're coming out with a new like approach to self levelers every week. That's obviously hyperbole, but pretty damn often I've got a new self leveler at my feet I've got to learn
yeah.
about.
Yeah.
I don't feel
There's some
comfortable
Sherlock
that
stuff I still
okay, I
want to
just
try.
pour some stuff in there and pour some water, mix it, and pour it out. Does it need primer? Can it go right over a moisture mitigation system? Do I need to prime the mitigation system? If I do, is it a different primer than the primer I used over concrete? Like I want to know about the
Is
product, and then
is the
what is the
leveler
coverage and the flowing and all that jazz.
is the leveler a mitigation system itself, right? Like
There is some of those now, which is pretty cool.
that is
If
pretty
it
sweet.
works, that is pretty dang sweet.
I I know some of the nerds that have been working on it for a few years, and they were finally they was just like the release valve. Hey,
Dude, you
guess what
want to
hit the
talk about
market?
that goes right into Doyle's comment about getting it done faster. You can knock off 2 days off of a job pretty easily if you ain't mitigating and you're just tossing down and you got a self level anyway. Like do them both.
You can add 3 days if you don't read the process the right way.
Yeah. Chicken beaks and claws. That sounds like my baloney. Has
That
a
sounds
first
like
name.
tamales.
Delicious.
All right. Well, I'm going to jump off here, guys. I got to get to another meeting at 3:00, 3:30 today. Sorry. And yeah, just keep liking and subscribing to our stuff. We're going to have some new information coming out soon. Stay in touch. Love you guys. Really appreciate your comments and your
Be
commitment to the
safe.
huddle.
Look, speaking of reps, got Jared calling right now. I'm gonna have to call him back.
Tell him.
All right, fellas. We'll talk to you guys later.
All
All right,
right.
brother. Take it easy.
See ya.
Bye, guys.
So he's talking about I like Doyle's whole thing about the vapor barriers and all that too. Like he's right. If and we're experiencing that right now internally where it doesn't matter how much information we can give out. Still trying to do it the way they did it years ago. It doesn't really work anymore.
Right.
And go ahead.
Doyle says you can't even wait on sales reps to educate you because they're not trained. They're
No, you
they're
can't.
they're there to sell. They're not there to train you. But that's why you get reps calling, right? You got to
Well,
educate yourself, push the freaking door open and ask questions. And a lot of the times, if you have good relationships like we do with, some of these reps, they'll end up calling you, hey, we got this new product. I want to get it in your hands. I want to see what you
Yeah,
think about it. What do you like? What don't you like? What sometimes what can we change about it, right? And
yeah,
those are the types of things that you need. That way you're not, because it does suck coming out of pocket to test stuff, but at the same time, I don't know, man. I'm that technology guy. I'm always testing out the new
yeah.
technology.
Well, same thing with tools. Everything's a tool, right? Whether it's in your hands or on the computer or on the floor, you got to use it. Everything's created in the system, but because we understand from personal experience that you can't be afraid of change because we're not doing it the same way we did it years ago. We have that open door that for the tools, the materials, the adhesives, anything that's coming out that could potentially, I don't even want to say make us or help make us more money, right? But help the installation be a success sooner for the client. It just overall timeline, right? We try to give time back, and that's what everything is geared for now, is to give time back. And
Right.
if we were afraid of change or kept on our old ways, we wouldn't be
It wouldn't be
entertaining
where
that.
we're at right now, right?
Yeah,
And Doyle says failure, remember, failures start at floor prep, not installations. And that is 100%. That was a big um, topic in that same meeting, was how, back in the day with the solvent adhesives, when we were, ripping up broadloom, put broadloom right back down, just boom, rip it up. And I remember back in the day when I first started, it was like, man, we're not even going to clean this up. And they're like, we're just gluing over this.
thought that that's the way we're supposed to do it, right? Until we learned a couple lessons, but
And
then
I'm not gonna
we
lie,
stopped.
some of those jobs that we revisit now, not I mean not our jobs, but just in general, it's nice though that happened, because it makes the removal of that adhesive a lot easier, because the one underneath is really crystallized, so it comes off a lot better.
All right. Well, you think let's backtrack. Let's look at one of the jobs that we've been fortunate enough to do 25 years ago, right? And then we've revisited it again, what, 8 years ago, 7 years ago, and redid it with, like, we tore it up, and it's like, hey, I did this install, right? And and it was in the newspaper, and blah blah blah. Man, I've learned so much since then. And then we went back with new technology, uh, right? We used was it our
185.
yeah, 185, and went back with that. And then they had some water line bust, and they had to redo everything anyway. And they went back with another solution. So their knowledge on what to do progressed along with ours. And then the product from 25 years ago was able to hide a lot of things that were wrong down there. But when we went back for the second time, we noticed all the things that it didn't really hide. It harbored, and it
Yeah.
made it worse.
I don't think it was 25 years, but I get the point of the story. Doyle says that he's meeting with his Ardex rep tomorrow to explain the new leveler they have, how it will work with the property owner and the installer. And that's what you need to realize, is that these people are there to help you. Jared just called me. He's been on our job sites before, numerous job sites, not just one. And
Mm-hmm.
it when he does it, it's, I'm not going to say no, because that's free labor for me, right? But at the same time, he's like, no, I just want to come out and help you guys out, make sure that things are good. And then when he's there, it's asking questions. It's, hey, we just primed this. What do you think? And then he gives you, some tips. Well, if you test it like this to see if it's how much it's still sucking up, and then if it's sucking up too much moisture, that means it's not primed enough. So you're just going to have to go over it a little bit more. So just making sure that you're covered, um, get a little bit of free labor out of it. I mean, even our distributor, one of the top guys at the local distributor, was working nights with you guys at Holland Hospital. I mean, this was what, 10 years ago?
As a matter of fact, it was when we first met Jared.
So, I mean,
And Daniel, it was 25 years ago, dude. 2000. The year 2000 when that got installed.
oh, I don't even know what job you're talking about then.
Boys and Girls Club.
That was not in 2000. Oh, the first time you
The
installed
first
it,
time.
not the
Yeah.
second.
Not the second. The
Oh.
second was like 7 years ago.
But
But that's just one of those things too, where you know, you could do it the same way, like work with the same people, and your relationship can continue to grow. That's one of the things that I would say that we've been working with them for years, right? But the reason they still work with us, even though on the labor side years ago we were working for people, is a familiar face, a safe face, but the things that we're learning together, and we're sharing information and the education part, and educating them on what's changed since the last time. Their money, their renovations are funded with donations, so that's an investment that they can't exceed, an investment they don't want to revisit, and they're willing to make sure that is done right. And they can do all their own research. They got some smart people there too. Like, they can do all their own research and check whatever we're talking about. You just got to evolve like everybody else. And the flooring industry is no different than Meyer. Remember before self-checkouts, right? That was a change.
and that's the thing, right? This new technology comes out and people either hate it or love it, right? And then it's there to stay. So it becomes part of the norm, right? And now there's all these self-checkout lines and people are taking full carts through there. And I'm going to whoever is working because I'm not trying to do that much work. I'm going to put my stuff on there. You guys can check me out, bag my stuff up, because I'm just not for it. It's just not me.
So in the title of the episode, you had a line in there that I liked. It was the difference between honoring experience and resisting change, right? And it's you can say it however many ways you want, but that right there is what stood out on the title, is because are we as people really doing our best to put our best foot forward if we're not honoring the experienced people, but also entertaining the technology and the new things that are coming up with the newer generations? Are we not adjusting, or is our honor for the older generations and the experienced installers, are we worried that we're going to offend them, right? Like, they have to understand. Everybody, I understand, you understand, but that aspect with the new technology moving forward and trying to change the way that the systems are installed, how do we get that to the older installers who've been doing it for X amount of years, so that way they understand the importance of them adopting the new ways, so that way when they're training, these newer generations are more open-minded to learning and adopting newer techniques and styles.
I think it's like what CFI is doing with the chapters, right? When they're inviting everyone, you don't have to be a part of CFI, just come to the chapter meetings and see what we're all about. And it's all about education. Like we said, both of us were kind of in that too. Like, why do I gotta go get training when I already know what I'm doing? And granted, we kept up on stuff. So, yeah, we kind of felt like that. But at the same time, we go to some of these trainings, it's like, man, I guess I didn't know as much as I thought I did.
And we were open to understanding that could happen, because we've had certifications and training in the past when it was needed, but we weren't out seeking it. We weren't we weren't being proactive as installers. We weren't doing our due diligence on the benefits of education. But once we started, it was hard to keep, like, I've been doing it like this for years. Hey, we're open for any new ways, new information. Love it, because there's just more information for us to apply later on.
Doyle says installers and retailers need to be verified in doing F2170 and F1869. Those of you that don't know, that's moisture testing in situ for RH and calcium chloride for moisture vapor emission rate. And, you know, the more they know about moisture, they'll automatically venture into understanding adhesives, roll-on vapor barriers, levelers, how everything works hand in hand. And I'll always go back to, you know, one of the first certifications I did when we started this, and it was, you know, him saying, but you guys don't need to know about this. That's for like the project managers and stuff. And I'm like, hold on, man, we 100% need to know about this. And that's where it's like we gotta be scientists out there. We have to know about the concrete. We have to know about the adhesives. We have to know about the material that's going on. How does moisture come up through the concrete? How does it stay in the concrete? It's like there's so much to know. And if you're not learning about it, you're eventually, and I hope not, right? Eventually you'll have one of those projects where it's like, oh, and most of the time it's not even gonna be anything that's probably serious. It's gonna be someone coming up to you and saying, where are your moisture tests?
Yep, 100%. And then as an installer, labor only, working for other companies, you're going to have to shrug your shoulders and say, I don't know. They're supposed to do it right. That's the wrong
And
answer.
and that's
And
no, I mean it is, but it isn't at the same time, right? Because as an installer, it shouldn't fall on the installer, right? And that's where you can say, well, you should have verified whether the results were good or not, but not actually do it. But everything gets pushed onto the installer where it's like, oh, if you start it, everything is automatically your fault. When as an installer, majority of the time you're going into these projects thinking that they already did the due diligence on everything and everything is good to go. But you also have to take a step back and realize where it's like, all right, let me stop right here and just check on things. This doesn't look right. And, you know, baby sister was really proud one time when she, you know, was putting pictures on there and making some calls. And she's like, does this look like a moisture issue? And I said, 100% that's an issue. She was like, yeah, that's what I thought. Like, it's knowing that, you know, you've seen it over and over again throughout the years. And it's just, now you can actually look at something and say, all right, I'm going to make a stop here because I think there's something going on. What do we need to do in order to make this right?
right, it's crazy you say that about seeing it over the years, where you can walk into a project and see a couple things that might be isolated and out of the ordinary, but then you're like, hey, there's something wrong here, right? Like, there's something wrong here, and that's when you do have you take those steps, make a phone call, ask a question. Installers, ask that. Do you guys happen to have the results of the moisture tests? Could you guys provide them for me? It's like, that's just a simple question, and don't feel like you're attacking anybody, because it's not an attack. Because, hey, you don't know, if you don't have a copy of the master contract, you don't know whose responsibility it was in the first place. So,
yeah, Doyle says, you know, talking about technology, wait until they create a way to X-ray or do CT scan of a slab. And the crazy thing is
sonar,
I've seen it done. I've
Yep.
seen them mark out on the floors, this is electrical, this is plumbing, this is low voltage, and they know, and they're like following these things all the way around. So that way, and one of them was they were only looking for that stuff, and they ended up finding tension rods, tension cables running all the way through the concrete. So if they would have cut anything, bust
Ooh.
one of those tension rods, it would have been game over for that place.
Was it a multi-level building that was
It
to
was,
prevent sway?
yeah, yep, it was. I don't even know how many stories it had, but yeah.
Man, that's crazy.
So
That's one day they'll make it easily accessible so that way we could use it in
right,
our
it that
application.
I think that's we'll get into that in a second. So Rollins says, as an installer, you might not do it, but you need to understand how it should be done and that it was done. And that is 100% correct. That's the reason why we went and did NFIC, right? It's like I've never touched this stuff. I may never touch this stuff again, but if I'm in that position to where I can install it or someone wants it, at least I have that knowledge to be like, okay, yes, we can tackle this and we have the manpower to do so. Sometimes it's not even the manpower, it's just the brain, right? We have the
Yeah.
knowledge. So we will be able to figure it out. But
And not only that too, it's adding to the. I've always done it this way. Is we've seen sales staff always do it in a way that doesn't complement the installers. So even if we have hand skills, but even if we don't have that knowledge base, we go learn to make us better at what we're doing right now too. So it's not just. I've always done it that way. You can watch other people and see them do it one way and learn from that. Like, okay, what are you missing that I can add to my arsenal that will help me out?
yep. And when we're talking about you said, one day they'll have that technology in our hands where it's, readily accessible. And that's one of the downsides, I guess, of technology is that when you are an early adopter, it's always more expensive and then the price goes down, right? Oh, everyone's got, you know, big screens and then the LCDs or the plasmas come out and it's
Dude,
like, man, now we want a plasma and
and the
then
OLEDs and
yeah,
man,
it's always something, right? And they have to do that in order to keep people buying. But is it better technology? Yeah, it is. Rollins taking off. Thanks, Rollin.
thanks for joining, Roland. Enjoy the rest of your day, brother. The What are some examples, Daniel, that you've experienced of other people maybe not necessarily installers, right? But like other examples of other trades, other people scenarios where you can see that they're just stuck on doing it one way and not entertaining something else. Do you have any examples of that?
Um,
If not, I got a couple anyway. So
I think like it's not necessarily other trades or anything, but Randall did chime in here and say the worst thing you can hear in construction is I've been doing this for 25
yeah,
years. But just like I'm gonna go back to flooring, right? Because it's what we know, and it's when we invested in the riding machines and like we were tearing stuff up with that original turbo machine, having someone stand on it. It's like it's a full-time job for 2, 3 people to run that thing, and then you're not even getting the you're
the
not
real
getting as
estate
much
that you
up as you
cover,
think you
yeah,
are.
yeah.
Like you're like, yeah, this is working good, and then you look back and it's like, dang, we did 100 yards today, and we still got 2,500 to go.
Yeah. Working hard isn't necessarily getting shit done. Working hard is just working hard. But if you have the right systems and tools and knowledge, and you apply that balls of the wall work ethic, you can get some things done.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I always think of, right? Because we've had people come through and it's like I wouldn't even be here if you guys didn't have this because we've been on some stuff where man, it's like sometimes you can't get the machines in there and then if you do like we have a walk behind and they don't want it in there because it's so loud and it's like, well, cutting in 1-inch strips and pulling it up and scraping everything by hand, it's not fun. But
Hey,
sometimes it's what you got to do.
yes, for all those installers, younger installers out there who's never experienced having hamburger hands, you're lucky. You're very, very
Right.
lucky.
Kevin says he doesn't think that the technology is always better. Sometimes products are created because of the loss of other products,
Oh yeah,
the solvents and
right.
the adhesive, right? Sometimes we are just adapting, and 100% for a long time, with the pressure sensitives that were coming out, it was one, it was a new technology and different technology, so it's more expensive because the things that you're putting in there, and two, it was a trial and error thing where it's like, yeah, we're testing it and it works right now, and it's not just adhesives, right? It's think SBCs, and not to throw them under the bus, but the drop locks, right? Where it's like, can it work? Yes.
Does it
Will it
work?
work every
Yes.
time? No.
No. Well, you some of the technologies, like he's saying, but it's the same thing, right? When that happens, it's good to know, and you have to adjust. You
And
can't do
it's
it the same way.
and they're doing the same thing that you should be doing. It's using the technology, either liking it or there's some issues with it. You adjust the issues, you come out with something new, right? It's constantly adjusting, and that's just how you have to think about business in general. And if you're an installer and you're not a business owner per se, it's still a business thing, man. It's your job is your business, right? That's how you make money. So it's eventually it's gonna all catch up to you, if you're not trying to do things to the new standards, and then it's gonna end up biting you at some point.
If if what you do day to day, no matter what it is, if it's several things or one thing, if it provides for you or your family and gives you a means to, go on vacations or have a hobby, if it provides you a means for you to live life the way that you choose, invest in yourself and learn how to do it multiple ways. Don't get stuck on one way. I get it. One way does work, right? There is always one way that works better than others, and you might have to revert back here and there, but don't put yourself in a situation where you're not willing to entertain the idea that you don't always have to keep doing it the same way. Let's learn a little bit more. Teach someone another technique that you learned that don't work for you, because it didn't work for you. It might work for them. Who knows? Left-handed, right-handed, you know, same outcome, two different
Right.
hands.
Doyle says, talking about pressure sensitive glue and LVT, which is better, wet set, semi-wet, or dry? Because this crap is still unstable and will shrink. And that's the thing, man. There's so much variation in the products. And when you look at dimensional stability, the numbers are a little crazy that something can be stable and still grow and shrink that much. But it's just the world we live in. Everything is going to grow. Everything is going to shrink. It doesn't matter what. Like when over the winter, right? It got super dry. We're running the heater all the time. Um, my humidifier on my furnace went out. They were supposed to fix it. Apparently, they didn't have the part or something. Never called me back. That's besides the point. But my garage door, it was like, before it was tight, and then it got super dry in there, and it was like barely latching. And then it rained for a couple days, right? And now it's back to normal, but now it's drying up again, so it's slowly creeping back. And that's the thing. It's like you can, as much as you want to blame it on the materials, which I mean, every manufacturer has their struggles, right? It's not perfect all the time, but it's not just the materials, it's just the nature of the
Of
world.
nature.
Yeah. But to
Yep.
answer your question, it's we have been semi-wet setting for a while, and um, a big part of that was due to going back to jobs and thinking, "Oh, we did such a great job," and then you go back and it's like,
You're
man.
like, what the hell? Like, what happened? Like,
And
what?
then and not only, jobs that we did, but then you start having an understanding of, oh, that's why you go to the grocery store and you can see every single seam in the VCT, because that's what's happening, right? Those plasticizers are
Precisely.
migrating off, and I blame dimensional stability, but there's more factors to just that one thing that could be going on.
You know what? It's just everything's trying to die is what it is, right? And some things are just a little bit slower than others. If it's losing its fullness because of time, so be it. I mean, we don't know what to do. All we can do is continue to learn and continue to be open-minded and learning other processes and not doing it the same way that we did it yesterday. I mean, pretty soon it's going to seem like it, but it's going to be like, man, we were just installing it like this a year ago, and now we have to do this.
And we can take this back to, and remember when we first got the Mozart, and you were like, "This is trash," and then come to find out you just weren't using it right? So,
Yeah,
and now it's like one of the
dude,
best tools in the pouch when
got
you're doing
custom
heat
leather
welding.
holders for them, like treating them like royalty on your belt.
So
What you
Doyle
got there?
does say if you don't do dry set, then you're defeating the purpose of being able to do simple repairs. And they sell that option. And that's the thing is I would rather have a job um, produce and not have any defects long term and spend a little more time if I have to do a repair than to go in there, dry set it, and have things not looking right because a simple repair isn't worth it for me. I'm trying to make sure that these things are lasting long term.
Yeah, and unfortunately, long term means permanent, right? That's
Yeah, and
if
that's the thing. It's you just have to look at it and know if I take this up, it's probably going to take this patch up with it. And then that it does in most cases because you're pulling so hard, right? But then, that adhesive will heat make it better. Is it going to peel off easier if I heat? Then I can start peeling and then scrape the adhesive off. So it's just coming up with different ways that you can do it, but still have the produce the good product that you want to produce.
look at Jorge. Jorge says, "Are you using the tool, or is the tool using you?" That's what she said. um, I don't know where you're going with that, bro, but I can let you know that if you don't have the right tools, you wish that you had the right ones. But if some people have the right tools at their disposal and still don't use them properly because of the misunderstanding of what it's for and the purpose is. Um, lasers. Lasers are one of the simplest tools to use, but people don't want to spend the time to set them up. And I tell you what, I've had many layouts. Um, I've had a lot more success with a little bit of lasers in my experience than I have just dry lining and snapping and hoping that it all ties in together at the
And
end.
the crazy thing is that lasers are easy, but they're not cheap. But there
Yep.
are some tools that you can use to get the same result. You just have to have the know-how, right?
Yep.
Trammel points. Going back to Nate, I missed this comment over on Instagram, but Nate said that when we were talking about everything goes back to the installer, right? When it shouldn't, he says the installer is the only one without a legal department.
Typically, yeah. Yeah, in most cases, he's right. The fall guy. If you're an installer that doesn't take the time to educate yourself and learn all these things that from the business standpoint and the manufacturer standpoint, you're putting yourself in a bad spot.
And when you really think about it, right? And if some of these installers have never had to go through something like that, that's great. more power to you. But it's things that happen like that where I know it's not my fault and you're making me pay for it anyways, is where that learning curve started happening, right? Where it's like, oh, so this is how it's going to be. Lock that one in here, start doing things another way. And like I said, it got to the point where I'm on meetings and they're pointing fingers and stuff, and it's like, picture here, picture here. It's like, I got all the documents saying that what you guys are saying, it can't be my fault.
Hey, you get burned, you got to learn. It's almost about that time, D.
It is. We want to thank everyone for joining today. Thanks for all the comments. Again, like, subscribe, so that way, we can keep on pushing this out. And if you want to join in on the podcast, like we were just talking about Hothead the other day, about we need to have that guy on more often, not just on the Spanish episodes, because that dude is a wealth of knowledge too. And he's a good talker. He knows what he's talking about. He just got to grow his hair back
than
out.
Everybody else, so
And he's older than me, but looks younger than me. That's crazy. But we definitely appreciate you guys. We wouldn't be here without you. So spread the word and let everyone know. And we hope to see you guys over at Coverings. Like I said, Jorge and I will be there. Melinda, Jorge volunteered her to be our tour guide.
Voluntold.
Oh, she actually is going to be a tour guide. I forgot about that. She's doing a tour for, I think she was doing it in Spanish. But yeah, we're going to be walking around with her to kind of see what's going on. And we'll probably be going live to show you guys the Legoland and show you why you should be attending stuff like this. So, shout out to Coverings and the NTCA for asking us to come out. And we definitely appreciate that. And we're going to go check it out and see what it's all about. You guys,
everybody, like and subscribe, share, thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever. I don't do that cool things with my camera like Daniel does. Ha. Dang.
So we'll see you guys next week.
Thank you, everyone.